all their hard work in making noticeable improvements to our Homeland Security. Many of the provisions in this bill go a long way in addressing critical issues like our vulnerabilities to cyber attacks. I also want to thank my esteemed colleague from Texas, Dr. Cuellar, for his remarks earlier. You know, him and I together represent around 60% of our southern border. And a lot of the things that he mentioned are spot on, and there's a lot of hard work that has gone into this bill, but there's a lot more that needs to happen. You know, when talking about immigration and border security, my concern is we have to do more in this area. Specifically, more needs to be done to support CBP and ICE on their mission to protect national security. Unfortunately, this bill does the opposite and reduces funding over last year by nearly $1 billion for CBP, $1 billion with a B, and hundreds of millions for ICE's enforcement operation. It fails to include any funding for additional border agents. We have a crisis, and we're not adding any Border Patrol agents to the solution. These cuts are unacceptable, especially as these agencies struggle to deal with a 20-year high in migration. I know this from firsthand experience. My district spans the largest stretch of U.S.-Mexico border. It includes 820 miles of border, 3 separate Border Patrol sectors: El Paso sector, Del Rio sector, Big Bend sector. While each of these sectors present unique challenges, all have seen dramatic upticks in the number of migrants that they are encountering. And now we have expressed a dramatic need for more resources, yet we defund them. That includes more agents, especially the men and women in green that are being pulled off the front lines to assist in the processing capability. We cannot afford to defund CBP and ICE. A visit to my district will show that our situation at the southern border has many consequences. It is affecting our ranchers who have dealt with the increase in trespassing and in some cases damage to their property. It is affecting our local law enforcement who have been dispatched to deal with a record number of high-speed chases and stash houses for human smuggling. It also affects migrants themselves who have perished in the unforgiving terrain on their way to our country, especially in the brutal summer heat. In fact, I've received countless calls from county officials on the need for body bags for decreased migrants. CBP has already rescued 35% more individuals than the previous fiscal year. In Del Rio alone, 24 deceased migrants have been recovered from heat exposure, and nearly 800 have been rescued in distress from heat-related injuries. That is a narrative that isn't being told. Border Patrol agents just work just as hard to rescue migrants and save lives. By using border technology like rescue beacons, surveillance towers, and ground sensors, agents keep our borders safe while conducting humanitarian crises. There is no doubt that we should address the current situation and future influxes in a humane manner. I believe there's a bipartisan consensus that migrants deserve the right to due process and to humanitarian assistance, and we should ensure that this is provided by Congress. However, we should not lose sight that enforcement and national security should always be addressed as a joint priority. This bill should not do the opposite and defund CBP and ICE, and instead it should recognize their efforts along with the local law enforcement that are keeping our borders safe daily. I yield back.